Hey team, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be taking a look at a post from r/engineering students titled, "Engineering Made Me a Psychopath." Oh, also, this is interesting. Over 85% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. My goal is to get that number down below 80%. So, make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed already. Doesn't really do anything for you, but helps me out a lot. So, thanks if you do that. Before I started engineering, I was a pretty emotional guy. Would cry and try to feel empathy for others. After 2 years of being beaten by assholes, I just stopped caring. Low-key feel nothing. IDK if this is normal. Straight face emoji. It's such a small message, but there's so much to unpack. It's kind of funny that being an emotional guy means that he cries and tries to feel empathy for others. Most of the times he wouldn't actually feel empathy, but he was trying, and that's what matters. Also, it's funny to be like, after 2 years of being beaten by assholes, what engineering degree are you getting? Getting a degree is not a competition. Why are you getting beaten by people? It should, in theory, and actually in practice, just be a competition with yourself. I don't think you should be fighting others. But regardless, it seems like he's endured 2 years of being beaten by assholes, and at this point he's just given up. And now they've posed the question to the community whether or not this is normal behavior. My gut reaction would be to say that no, this is not normal behavior. But I think it's much more complex than this. I don't think it can simply be responded to as a yes or no question. To the level of feeling nothing, I don't think you should get there. But do you endure some stuff that maybe changes how you handle emotions and hardship? Yes, I think that does happen. Speaking from personal experience, I can say that going to college for engineering definitely gave me new lows. Like, I had never hit such lows before I went to engineering school. Anything I had gone through before that paled in comparison. And so I think it makes sense that once you've hit new lows, then yes, you start to change other things about your life. Your perspective on things might change. How you handle adversity might change. I'm definitely not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, engineering made you feel this way? That's crazy. You shouldn't feel like that. No, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that, yeah, it has an impact. Again, should you low-key feel nothing? Probably not. No, I don't think that part's normal. But yes, I think it's normal to change as a person once you go through something very difficult in life. In this case, it's engineering school, but this may happen to people when they lose a loved one, or, they lose a lot of money, something like that, right? Something big in life happens to them, naturally, they're going to change. So I can draw that comparison, right? Engineering school is difficult. Losing someone you love is difficult. Having a financial hardship is difficult. These are all difficult things, and you change once you get on the other side of them. So I will acknowledge that. But that being said, I don't think you should feel nothing. I think maybe that you do need to get a little bit of help here. And how do you get that help, right? I think there's a couple things you can do. You said it's been 2 years of being beaten by assholes, so I'm gonna guess you're still in school. Part of getting better could be improving your school. Maybe it's the school that is the asshole, not the other people that are with you, not your contemporaries. So maybe finding new study habits so that you're not always getting bogged down by this thing. I think also having a community helps. Do you have a lot of friends? Usually, right? Misery shared is halved, joy shared is doubled. Have you heard that? So if you have a group of friends that you can maybe talk to, they can console you in a way, I think that might reduce these feelings you're having. And then when you do well on an assignment, they can help you feel even better about that by being like, yo, dudes, I fucking passed that shit. Let's celebrate. And they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. Also, if you have a friend group that is inside of engineering, you can compare notes. Be like, how bad is it for you guys? Oh, it's really bad, huh? Damn. So my stuff is not really that bad, is it? Yeah, this sounds bad on paper, but let me explain. Whenever I hear about other people going through hard times in life, it actually makes me feel better because it gives me perspective. Sometimes I think I get stuck alone, right? An echo chamber, people call it, in thinking that, oh my God, my life sucks the most. But then I hear about how someone else's life sucks, and I'm like, oh, okay. So my thing's not that bad, is it? And that's something that community helps with. If you hear how other people's lives suck, you start to think, oh, well, mine's not that bad, I guess. And if this community is other engineers, well, their notes that they're comparing with you are probably pretty similar. They're probably struggling in the same classes as you. And then you guys can work together to find out, well, how do we get through this, right? We both want to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. How do we do this together? And the other thing I would say is, in addition to changing your coursework, changing your community, is also changing your environment. How do you live? Like, is everything around you pretty dirty? Do you never make your bed? Are you eating well? It's like the concept of work-life balance, right? Sometimes when we think about that, we think about them as separate, but what people often don't realize is that you're the same person in both those fields. Like how you are at work is different than how you are in your real life, we'll call it. But what doesn't change is that you're the same person in both of those. So it's only natural that your work life, in this case it's school, your school life is impacted by your real life. So if your real life is suffering, right, you're not like changing your clothes, brushing your teeth, making your bed, eating well, then it's going to impact your work life or your school life in your case. So I would look into that, right? Like your general well-being, go outside. Are you taking walks? Are you getting enough sun? I remember there was a time when, and this was when I was working full-time, there was a time I spent like 4 days inside, and then I started feeling bad. And I was like, what is this? Like, work is going fine. I feel like I'm eating well, I'm sleeping enough, but I still feel like complete shit. And then I realized, oh, Gauruv, you idiot, you haven't gone outside. You don't know what it feels like to have the sun on your skin for over, what, 96 hours? That takes a toll on a person. So I think all these things combined are probably making you into this person that low-key feels nothing. But then again, what do I know, right? I'm the guy that said I spent 4 days inside. So let's take a look at the comments. Disassociation from emotions as a defense mechanism / trauma response after enduring experiences that made you believe that being empathetic, expressive / showing emotions led to painful outcomes. Your brain is protecting itself and protecting you from what it perceives as threats to your well-being. It thinks disconnecting is the way to do that right now. In the long term, it will depress you and disconnect you from who you really are, and you will feel inauthentic and lonely. I really recommend starting to work with a counselor on or off campus if you can. This degree is brutal and really takes a toll. Don't let yourself get too far gone. You've got this. Yeah, your body probably feels, like I said, the new lowest of lows. So what it's trying to do as a defense mechanism that Cat Pie 2 so beautifully articulated is just stop all emotions. Like there's that old fable, right? There's a king and a fly keeps landing on his nose. So he tells his guards, stop this fly from landing on my nose. And so they go up to the king and they chop his nose off. And he's like, oh my god, what the fuck was that? Why'd you do that? And they're like, well, king, if there's no nose for the fly to land on, it won't land there. So yes, your body is basically like, oh, we don't have to feel bad if we don't have feelings. So let's just shut that off. And yes, if you're in that mode for too long, it'll become the default. Your body won't remember what it was like before. So you just have to keep checking in with that old version of yourself, right? The version that felt things, so that you can still have that ability, we'll call it. Bro, how is this a common experience? These were not the comments I was expecting. Either y'all are trying too hard to be edgy, or y'all didn't have friends in college. See, this acknowledges this idea that we could read this post, right, in isolation and be like, oh, that's like a one-off thing, right? That's like a corner case. But what's beautiful about like internet threads is it finds community. It finds everyone else that's experiencing the same thing. Of course, there's like pros and cons to that. Like you can find a community for some fucking weird shit, but it's beautiful in this case. You can find other people that are experiencing these things and can help you work through it. But yeah, as this user points out, he's like, oh, I didn't know so many people were going through this. And that's why I think a lot of people that are going through it sometimes don't get help, because they're like, oh, well, I'm the only person going through this. I mean, look at everyone else. They're doing just fine. Like, I should just shut up and like work my shit out. But no, hopefully this thread makes you realize like, oh no, you're not alone. This is very difficult and you should get some help. But this guy does offer a good point. You know, he made the joke of like, oh, either y'all are trying way too hard to be edgy or you just didn't have enough friends. There's some truth in that, right? The friends point. This guy probably had a bunch of friends and he was like, oh no, I mean, no matter how bad things were getting, I always had my friends, so I never really felt that bad. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Totally normal. I lost all empathic ability. You'll get it back a few years after you get your degree. Just be careful on those first few jobs. Okay, well, I don't know if losing all empathic ability is normal, because then you start in the real world, and that has its own difficulties it's going to present you with. And so I think your body will probably double down. If you felt that bad in college, it's only going to continue to feel bad. Because while I do hold the opinion that a full-time engineering job isn't as difficult as engineering school, it's still stressful in its own ways. So your body will resort back to its old behaviors that it learned in college and shut down. So I wouldn't look at college as like the jail you need to escape from. Like, oh, once I get out there, it'll be all good. I think you should use college to learn how to endure such hardships, so that you can healthily handle the real world. Because without like conscious work, you're not going to break out of this just because you get a degree. Right there with you, pal. Yeah, see, another example of someone relating to what OP is talking about. So if you're experiencing some adversity, whether that be in engineering school or really anything else in life, remind yourself that you're not alone. And I would also like to remind you to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.